What's going on, traders? How we doing? Welcome back to Start Swing Trade. Let's take a look at what happened in the market today. And wouldn't you know it, the opposite of what is logic happening today with a pop in the market. Yes, the markets are getting a lift, and a lot of this coming from tech stocks continuing to climb, even though we're having wars. This is just how the market is sometimes, guys. You expect the market to come down, and that's exactly what the market does. It does the opposite. Where it can hurt the most, it moves. This is why I always say that if you're trying to use logic in this market, you're probably going to end up just screwed. Let's just be honest. So you got to be careful with that mentality of just trying to be on logic. Today, Microsoft lifting the market off, and that's what I really was trying to focus on. Would Microsoft stay strong? And you guys can see it here. Microsoft with a pretty strong move on the day, and the high cap names, the Magnificent Seven, right? Kind of lifting off here. Apple getting a little bit of a lift, Nvidia getting a lift today, Meta getting a lift today, Google getting a lift today. And so these are what's holding the market up. Now, the only question is, how long can this little rally last, right? Or will the focus go back to the uncertainty in what's going on in the Middle East and more uncertainty and political unrest? I mean, it's interesting to see that we're going up today. And it was a pretty big day there for the Qs. Qs getting up there to 366, bouncing right back here. It's SPY looking like it's trying to get back above the 430 spot, which is very important, right? If we can close even today above the 430s, I think it's a win for the bulls that are looking for this to come back up. Just recently on Thursday and Friday, we were down there towards the 420 area where I was looking for the 50% retracement. We drew this line on June. No, actually, I drew this line, this 420. I updated it on May 26th. And we've been looking at this fib retracement essentially since September 11th, August 11th, and looking at that retracement going to 50%. We got it. Now we're back up there to 430s. Will we just go sideways here, going down there towards the 420 area? I could see that happening. Of course, some of these big techs getting a little bit of a lift off today. We'll see what happens if they can continue strong. Google still has room to kind of get up there towards the 141. That's what I feel like it could do there. We'll see if it ever gets towards a 52-week high and then really starts taking out kind of the long-term highs that we see here. Will it get to the 150 and go to the next level? That's just something to think about. I mean, like always, the market likes to hurt the most. So it just seems like everybody started leaning to the bearish side. There you have it. We start to get some bullish reactions. And today, everything from the open up. Real estate bouncing back here. And so we got to keep our eyes to see what happens with real estate. The office names, especially getting a little bit of a bounce back after it seems like destruction the last couple of weeks. So does this last? I don't think it'll last, but something definitely to keep an eye out for. Industrials also getting the bounce back. Cat having a decent bounce back day. UPS even into the green today. That tells us a lot. UNP getting a little bit of a lift. Deere a little bit of a push higher back there towards the 382. We'll see if it gets back there to 400. That's going to be definitely an area that I'd keep an eye out for. Energy bouncing back today. Oil got the bounce back. It's back there. XOM up about 0.69% from the open. COP up about 2.2%. So ConocoPhillips, probably the best of breed with the move today. Nice little lift off. And just recently, this was down to 113. Big move here in the last 3 or 4 days, as of course we get another lift off here in oil. And we need to keep our eyes out on what's going on in oil as we look to see now, will we get back into the 90 handle? I talked about before I left on, of course, on Tuesday, I talked about would we see crude drop back down below the 90s going towards the 85s? And that's exactly what we got. Now I'm looking for the opposite. I'm looking to see if we go back to the 90s and then eventually take out 95, especially with the situations that are going on across, of course, across the seas in the Middle East, I think that we eventually see a spike in oil, and it could be wicked to the upside. Will oil pass 100? That is really the question. And if oil goes to that 100, what will happen as inflation skyrockets? And of course, we'd be looking to see what happens to those CPI reports. Those PPI reports might not be looking so favorably if we get oil back above 100. So something definitely to keep an eye out for. Let's catch up with the chat. EKS TLT up 2.13%. I mean, I think this also has to just do with, at the end of the day, just a little bit of a bounce back, right? TLT went down and made another leg lower on Friday and bounces back towards the resistance today. It definitely didn't hurt it, right? That bonds had to do a little bit better. Does that have anything to do with the trade, with bonds trading close? Yeah, I think that has a big thing to do. And oil to 120, I wouldn't go that far, Kevin. I would say that this could make a move towards a nice little spike, but will that last? That's only the question, right? A lot of people are surprised by the rally, and why? Because it's just not logical to see markets rallying into this, but that's exactly how the markets work. When you think it's not logical, it usually does the opposite. Why are crude oil futures not acting on this supply panic? Well, the truth is that there is no panic right now, Raz. The real panic is going to come is if we get some information on Saudi Arabia. Because the truth is that the US has been working on a deal, of course, with Saudi Arabia, and that would increase what? Oil supplies. Why would the US want the Saudi officials to be willing to raise output next year? Because they need to fill the reserves. So this is kind of like a little bit of a hidden trick, right? If we went to the Saudis, made a nice little deal, it would definitely maybe lower the prices of oil, and thus they could put those reserves right back in. I think this is actually putting this deal into question as what will happen here, right? Of course, Israel will be looking to see if the Saudi had anything to do with what is going on right now. And I'm not here for speculation, but that's definitely going to play into the oil game. And I think that that's what we need to be watching now. There's going to be a lot of political unrest here. And can I know which way the catalyst will be falling? No. There could be tape bombs all over this. But I think that what you need to be looking for now is if that deal starts to get cut because Israel makes comments or anything to do with the Saudis have been helping Hamas or anything to do with the Saudis kind of protecting here and providing support, who knows what's going to happen necessarily. Now, this deal, if it doesn't go through, that's going to actually hurt that supply that could come back to the market next year. And then I think we see the oil spike, the real spike, right? We'll see what happens, guys. Right now, are we seeing that spike in oil? We're seeing an up move. We're up there towards 86.37, but we're not seeing a spike just yet. I'll be looking for it to see if we can get back over 90. All right, guys, let's keep going. Let's take a look at some of the stocks that moved today. And the way that I'll do that is, Hendrix, you can't be hitting all these buttons, man. All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look at what else is making moves on the day. We'll go to the SPY and just take a look at what was the biggest movers of the day. We can take a look at those charts and see how they're moving. All right, well, if I looked at the SPY, I can see here KLG, guys, the Kellogg's, the cereal is getting the lift. Well, not really a lift because, of course, this one spun off, came down about 28%, just bouncing back today about 18%, up about 10% from the open. Be careful out there. KLG getting a little bit of a bounce back. MOS getting a little bit of a bounce back. NOC, of course, defensive name, getting a little bit of a push. This is one of the names that hasn't been beaten down in the defensive space, right? If you take a look at RTX, that one was already beaten down. Lockheed Martin wasn't, right? And there you guys have it. Nice little lift there today. So not a bad move there in, of course, NOC as you got up there to the 470s. Next spot is going to be to fill this gap. Go up there to 488 could be the next move. Doesn't look too bad there as it starts making the move. Even Domino's Pizza bouncing back after yesterday, after last week. I was starting to look at this on Monday as a potential short. Talked about that here. Right here, of course, on start swing trade, as we saw consumer facing stocks getting hit. Look at that downturn that you guys could have been able to nail on DPZ. I hope you guys were able to nail that downturn. And now things are getting the bounce, but I'm still not feeling good about consumer facing stocks. Those stocks could definitely go lower. Names like Starbucks, Best Buy, the Hiltons, right? The lodging today. It did get a little bit of a bounce. I'm going to continue my eyes open for what's going on. Airbnb bouncing today. These are all stocks that I think eventually could take a major beating, right? Even like a Booking Holdings, it's up fast. 3,000 today, but this to me seems like it could come crashing down after recently just continuing to climb. We'll see what happens if, of course, what's going on in the Middle East starts to affect travel all around Europe. And of course, as we get more and more going on in this situation, we'll continue to watch to see how it affects these leisure stocks. Cruise lines were down. You can see it here. Cruise lines down a pretty significant amount. Airlines down a pretty significant amount. It's all something to keep our eyes open for. All right, let's see what else is going on. There's a lot to talk about. I see you guys in the chat getting a little political on me. To tell you the truth, I mean, that's for another show. I mean, who's the good or bad guys? I mean, that's for a whole nother conversation. My idea is just to look at the stocks and what we can trade off of, right? And I was also taking a look today to see how some of these Israeli companies were going to trade. Would they trade down based on the news? And you saw stocks like Fiverr getting a little bit of a hit here in the pre-market. Some other names kind of also coming into here. Cyber, I know, is one of those. And you guys can see how this was getting hit in the pre-market. It even got hit out the gates. And then, of course, the rapid bounce back came in. So it's something to keep an eye out for. All right, but definitely we got to keep our eyes on to see what happens in the market today. Tesla was coming down and then it wrapped right back to the upside. So the big thing is going to be now watching the big boys, right? You got to continue to watch the bigger stocks. Apple, Microsoft, right? Nvidia. Will ARM continue to stay into the green? That's another thing that I'm keeping an eye out. A whoosh right back down to 50. And yeah, this tech trade could be easily done in an instant. Today, financial services also continuing to bounce back. I actually got hit hard in KRE earlier today. I was looking for a nice trade on this one off the 41 spot. Eventually, this went up through the 41.25, stopping me out. But I'm liking the KRE for a swing trade to the downside here, as I think we're going to come back into banking concerns sooner or later. I will keep my eyes open as, of course, the bank earnings are coming up. End of the week is going to be eyes open as we start some earnings and really get into the banks next week. Keep your eyes open. Friday, we'll get some banking action. This could all turn around to the downside by the end of the week. The only question is, will the earnings, or will we get kind of an earnings disaster? Will someone pre-warn? Things to keep in mind, right? Let's keep going. I'll take a look at some of the ones you guys are mentioning. DPZ reports Thursday morning. We'll see what happens there. I know they have 50% off this week. So if you want 50% off your pizza, give Domino's a call, right? We'll see what happens there if we're able to go ahead and see banking situation kind of expand. Coal stocks were really hot today. I will say that. Agricultural inputs also really hot. CF, MOS, keep your eyes on those. Coal getting a nice little lift. CEIX right back to the upside. BTU back towards 26. Will this really start to take off? It's been trying to work its way there. Now the next level is to watch 26 on this one. We'll see if it gets through there. All right, guys, it's 4 o'clock. I could stay talking about other stocks, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, guys. It's been it's a pretty tough day for many, I'm sure, as we got the cues to come up today, as most people did not expect to see this up move. And you guys are seeing it just like a lot of the times the market can make a move that might seem illogical, but the truth is that the market likes to go where it can hurt the most. And a lot of times it's what? It's the reverse psychology out there that you guys need to catch We'll see what happens. Like always, guys, smash the like if you guys enjoy the show. I'll see you guys back on pre-market prep in the morning. Hit the lights, hit the bell, pencils down. EKS knows the deal. It's time to end the day, guys. Like always, stay safe out there. I will see you bright and early on pre-market prep.